Hello and welcome to the Keeping It Real show with Jackie. Today is Friday, 9/29, 2017. Thank you for joining in and tuning in to Keeping It Real. I am your host, Jackie Madison. Keeping It Real is a show dedicated to keeping it real by bringing you news, stories, and information. Some topics and content may be controversial. Therefore, remember, although this is an adult show, we keep rudeness and discrimination out and welcome the unbiased truth with respect and humanistic manners. If you have a problem, question, comment, suggestion, or concern about any content, please forward them to me at jjmadison001@gmail.com. Today is Fun Friday, and the news and information that we're going to bring to you today has a blurb in it about fun things to do for the weekend, beginning with tonight, Friday, in addition to all the other news and information. So locally, there are many venues that have fun stuff to do, depending on whether you are single, in a relationship, or looking for some fun family thing to do with children. Since fall is here, this is a great time to venture outdoors. Fall goes by so fast, so take advantage of the cool weather and beautiful scenery of the plants and foliage with this bucket list of fun things to do in autumn. Visit local parks or state parks. Go apple picking. Go leaf peeping. Get lost in a corn maze. Take a hot air balloon ride. Play a game of two-hand touch football. Go for a hike. Go for a hayride. Or even have a bonfire. Collect colorful fall leaves. How about creating yourself a bucket list and mark off all the things that you do as you go along? This will add more fun and adventure to your fun outings. If you are looking for fun things to do with your children for this fall or your grandchildren, here are some fun ways to play and explore with the children. Paint acorns. You can make leaf lanterns, decorate nature pumpkins. Get the best first fall photo ever. Gather up everybody in the family, all the children, the grandparents, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, and just take a best first fall photo ever. How about making melted crayon pumpkins or whip up some pumpkin pie ice cream? Now, everybody isn't privy to pumpkin, but I myself, I love pumpkin bread, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin pies, pumpkin whatever. You name it, I like it pumpkin. And then last but not least, make a bird feeder. We have to always remember that we have to share in the birds being able to eat. That's how God feeds them. Well, that's the end of the Fun Friday portion of today's Keeping It Real segment. But remember, have fun this Friday and carry it over into the weekend. And that is Keeping It Real. With all of the news and information that's going on today about the people's rights to pledge the allegiance or to pledge to the flag, whether the NFL players should pledge or whether or not they have the right to kneel during the recital of the Pledge of the Allegiance, and the worst of all, Donald Trump blatantly calling the NFL players SOBs. I chose to do some research in regards to all the different laws that make up the laws that we as United States citizens are supposed to be abiding by. Especially when we have a president like Donald Trump who gets on TV, rants and raves, who's on Twitter ranting and raving. And with that last call of the NFL managers and VPs to reprimand the NFL players for exercising their right to kneel during the recital of the Pledge of Allegiance. So we need to really pay attention to what's going on. And we really need to hone in on all the different laws that make up this country. We need to know what Congress's positions are, the representatives, all the legislators. They are public workers. They are public servants and they have jobs because they are supposed to be representing us. A president, the leader, calls NFL players SOBs but he chooses to, in essence, support hateful neo-Nazis, white supremacists, by calling them good people. So American people, it seems as if though they're beginning to feel like they are not being heard and they don't even control their own futures. Therefore, the segment of the Keeping It Real show that I will be speaking about in regards to political news. It's going to be related to laws and political positions that were set in place to establish the United States of America. I'm going to begin with the 28th Amendment of the Constitution, which is a really good place to start because it really speaks to the positions of the Congress members and the representatives and the legislators. So there are a few documents, a few key documents that we as citizens should be familiar with. The first is the Declaration of Independence, the second is the Constitution, and the third is the Bill of Rights. These documents are the documents that lay the foundation of the United States. On the surface, each has a different purpose. The Declaration asserts independence. The Constitution sets up the federal government. The Bill of Rights are amendments which were added to the Constitution 3 years after it was ratified. So the Bill of Rights fills in like key specifics of what the federal government can and cannot do. So keep that in mind. But at the heart of these founding documents, they're all about the same thing, something deeper than political independence and the structure of the government. They all speak to the profound needs that humans have, literally, in the distinctive pursuit of safety and survival, to feel like we are in control of our own lives. It seems like the words of the Constitution, which is supposed to promote the general welfare of the citizens, of, by, and for the people. Now, this is a phrase that's taken from the Gettysburg Address that Lincoln spoke. These words are not being upheld by the government anymore. So as citizens, I implore you to get to know your Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the laws that govern state and federal statutes. I reposted this post about the 28th Amendment that was sent to me on Facebook, so I'm going to read it to you. It states that our present situation, children of Congress, the members don't have to pay back their college student loans. Staffers of Congress, family members are also exempted from having to pay back student loans. Members of Congress can retire at full pay after only one term. Members of Congress have exempted themselves from many of the laws that they have passed, under which ordinary citizens must live. For example, they're exempt from any fear or of prosecution for sexual harassment. Maybe that's why Donald Trump is so blatantly sexually harassing people. And as the latest example, they have exempted themselves from healthcare reform in all of its aspects. We must not tolerate an elite class of such people, elected as public servants, and then putting themselves above the law. I truly don't care if they're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever. The self-serving must stop. Governors of 35 states have filed a lawsuit against the federal government for imposing unlawful burdens upon their states. It only takes 38 of the 50 states to convene a constitutional convention. If each person that receives this will forward it to 20 people in 3 days, most people in the United States will have a copy. Proposed 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution reads, Congress shall make no laws that apply to the citizens of the United States that does not apply equally to the senators and or representatives. And Congress shall make no law that applies to the senators and or representatives that does not apply to the people of the United States equally as citizens of the United States. Okay, there you have it. But in layman terms, members of Congress should not be creating or passing laws for the citizens that they are exempt from themselves. We, the people, are the ones who elect officials into the offices that they have because they are supposed to be looking out for our welfare, not lining their pockets and focusing on what they want or me or itis. I don't know about you, but I have student loans to repay. I also know people who have attended schools that closed down and they are stuck with paying off a student loan for a program that they did not finish. There are disabled people who can no longer work, but the federal government is taking over $150 a month from their disability check to repay student loans. Why the Sam is Congress and senators and their family members and staff workers not or exempt from repaying student loans? Why do citizens who are not related to Congress or Senate staffers have to repay? Now get this, I've attended universities before. I have a double master's degree in counseling, bachelor's degrees in history, psychology, and education. And I didn't have to take out student loans, fortunately for me, until I got one of my master's degrees. So my student loan repayments, or the student loans that I took out, are not nearly as high as most people who are up into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get some scholarships and work off some of my student loans. But I know a lot of people who are just stuck and they have student loan nightmares. But these people are citizens. Now, one of my classmates who were from other countries, who were foreigners, have admitted to me that they have to pay back their student loans. In addition, I made many friends who were from other countries, many of them who studied to be doctors who are practicing now. They told me out of their own mouths that they did not have to pay back their student loans. And their student loan debt was like in the hundreds and 200,000s of dollars. So why is it that we as citizens have to repay our student loans when Congress and representatives and their family members and their staff family members don't have to pay? And on top of that, people who don't even live in this country permanently get to come over, go to school, get degrees, open businesses. They send their monies back home to take care of their families at home, and they're not repaying their student loans. This is a hot topic, and it needs to be addressed because representatives of Congress, they are not equally treating us, the citizens, the same as they are treating others on this topic. So, it needs to be ratified. United States citizens who owe loans, I implore you to get out and start protesting, to stand up and advocate against United States citizens repaying these student loans. If Canada can send their citizens to school for free, if Canada can give their citizens free health care, so can the United States, the supposed superpower of the world. Therefore, get busy, you guys, and start reaching out to your aldermen, reaching out to your representatives, start getting together in think tanks to come up with a law or come up with a plan in order to eradicate this injustice on the American people. Now, moving on to other news, I want to talk about a topic that's very dear to me, and it's also a hot topic, and that's the hot topic of mental health. Fall season brings in this time of change where we do this daylight saving time, and it starts to getting dark like at 5:30 in the evenings, which is too early for most of us. And unfortunately, a lot of people struggle with this physically and mentally. And so a lot of people end up getting into states that are kind of low or depressive states during this time of the year. And with the holiday season um, coming upon us, that even exacerbates the feelings of depression. So I want to give you some insight into depression. It's a really serious illness. And if you're feeling this way, please reach out to myself, because I am a licensed professional counselor, or another mental health practitioner who can give you some advice and kind of help you guide through um, those down times and those feelings. We can redirect you to certain services and things to do that's going to help you when you're feeling like that, because fall is really challenging. There are some lights that will illuminate like the sun, that you can have in your home or you can have in your office, and that helps us to they help us to stay awake a little bit longer. But this season, remember to always look out for people who have derogatory or negative effects when it comes to daylight saving time. Make sure that they have correct lighting, and make sure that they're getting out, taking walks, and doing things that's going to energize them physically. Today in history, 1789 was the year in Congress voted to create a U.S. Army. In 1833, a civil war breaks out in Spain between the Carlists, who believe Don Carlo deserves the throne, and supporters of Queen Elizabeth. And in 1942, Hugh Molzack was the first captain of a U.S. merchant ship, launches with the Booker T. Washington. In 1969, President John F. Kennedy authorized the use of federal troops and integration of University, Mississippi. And in 1974, WGPR TV, Detroit, the first black-owned station in the United States, began broadcasting. Well, that wraps up today's show. It's been a blast. Until next time, remember to always keep it real.